Good time for that. All right, legends, we're rolling out. There is rain in the area. We have a tropical storm called Hannah. We have tropical storm Hannah in the area. And so there will be rain. It's not if, maybe, whatever. There's rain out there. If it rains a lot, we're not going to follow any group because those guys don't use mud guards. I'm not going to get myself sprayed with nasty, dirty water. So as soon as the rain kicks in, we're just Paul and I will ride. We've got our mud guards on. So you can see.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So we're equipped. And the rest of the people that choose not to put on mud guards, that's their business, because the rain does not dirty you. It's the dirty water from the road that dirties you. It's all the dirt that mixes with the rain. So if you don't have mud guards and you plan to ride, then you're at the mercy of the weather.
Yeah, quite a few people in the area were
This is an appointment I like to keep.
They were hoping that the weather would hold up. And what's the point of hoping? Just get what you need if you're going to be riding and be prepared. Why hope? You know, these guys that we ride with, the WCC boys, they don't hope. They get out there and they're like, oh, hey, if it rains, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They don't stop riding because it's going to rain.
Geniuses. We got rain. It's been raining all week. And these guys are watering. See, that's what happens when you don't pay attention to detail.
Yeah, we get that a lot in our area. People just don't keep up with their sprinkler systems. Yeah, it's like, I put a rain sensor on mine. So once the rain comes, it turns itself off, but then I follow up.
Nothing but rain. It's going to be 81, 82 for our high. In July, that means it's going to rain.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. We rolled into the Woodlands. We went up Woodlands Parkway to Sterling Ridge, do a little extra loop because we got there early. We picked up the group, we headed out French Crossing, got on 1488. The pace was really fast there. Went up Mount Magnolia, past Cairn. We stopped filming once we got to the end of Jackson Road where it says Dobbin there. Then we left the group. We went past Montgomery on 1097 into the forest on Bethel Road. We took Bethel Road north to 149 and then we came south on 149 back towards Montgomery, at which time we stopped at Taco Corner. After the stop, headed back on 2854. We started to film. We went through Great Lake Estates to our favorite road, Honea-Egypt Road. Took that back in the time. It rained on us on that stretch and we got back to the Woodlands. By then it had been raining there quite a bit, so all the roads were messy, so we're really thrilled that we had our mud guards and everything in place. So I hope you all will enjoy the clips. It's an interesting ride.
It rains, but I'd rather not get it.
Yeah. I prepared just in case, because the way the weather was doing, it was supposed to rain 2 a.m. So once I got up, yeah, they've been changing it. Yeah, it's raining in certain spots during the week.
Doug's is saying that it's been threatening rain all week. It's been raining in spots. It's been like thunder showers.
Thunder showers.
So we've had rain.
We're gonna get dropped too, so don't worry. Come on.
This guy already announcing
Here
that.
you go, Paul. He's already making reservations with us. I said, if I get dropped, I'll come back and say, but we get dropped too. So we're already making reservations. Nah, we'll be fine. The group is small. We clear? Okay.
You don't need to announce like he did that you're gonna get dropped. When you come to a group ride, you're just there to do your own thing. When you pull out, just let the group know, I know the way, I'm okay, so nobody worries about you. You don't need to announce, oh, I'm gonna get dropped. Don't let that intimidate you from joining a group. If your form is not in, join the group for as long as you choose to, and then you pull out and do your own thing. Just let people know that, oh yeah, I know the way back and I'm just backing off the pace. You don't need to announce in the parking lot like he's doing. And we find out later why he was announcing, because you'll see he got a new bike and it's not fitted very well.
We got fans. Some guy said you probably bought it from some place called CC or Tick CC or something.
They came like that?
mixed,
Yeah, that's what he said. So I said, that's kind of cool. That's a cool look.
They're talking about Doug's socks from last week.
The guy, his name is Holmes on Bikes. His avatar name. And he said he knew where you got them from. So that's a place that specializes in that. Yeah, looked good.
Yeah, we're talking about Doug Shot socks with two different patterns, and Holmes on Bikes, one of our legends, that said that he probably got it from a particular place that has crazy socks. So I was just letting him know you got some fans, and I think it's cool. Find your personality, find what you like to do, and do it. I'm wearing the Assos Keep shorts, I'm sorry, and I have the Assos shoe covers because it rains in the area. It's just not raining here now. But I found that the Keep is very comfortable, so, you know, it's kind of like, if you like Assos, you don't have to buy a lot of that stuff. I put the arrow on my back there again because that's my rain jacket, my rain vest. I've got it under the Assos bib against my spine so I could save my pocket space at this point in the ride. Later on, I took it off and put it in my right pocket. That's where my food is. By the time I had eaten quite a bit of the food, I had some room. And you will see where we get rained on, and I demonstrate how to put on your kit while you're still on the bike, you know, in the right situation. So Paul has his vest under there as well. But with the way the bib shorts are designed, you can carry stuff between the bibs and your body if you need to. You know, Mo had talked about it a long time ago. He went to some race in Italy where he won. They gave him wine and cheese and all kinds of stuff. And he had ridden to the race.
Jerry!
So he had to ride home. That's Jerry Lutner there, just joining us. He had ridden to the race, so he was on the podium, so they gave him all this stuff. He had to carry his wine and his cheese or whatever else in his jersey. There's a guy in the truck that we had turned, and he was coming up. I ended up just waving him over. There you go. I said, come on, pass. I don't know why they're blowing. What are we supposed to do, go in the bush? Just pass. Sometimes you wonder whether common sense is tested when they hand out licenses to operate vehicles, you know. But anyway.
How are you, man?
No worries. You just have to communicate with the other road users. It's a smaller turnout this day, and Jerry was asking what the route was because he was not in the parking lot, and I was telling him that they're doing 1488 to 149. So I ended up, after this ride on Sunday, I had prepared my bike and everything to get out to go ride. I woke up as usual, 5:30 in the morning, my usual bedtime. My bedtime is like 9:30 to 5:30, something like that, usually, when I can keep it. But 5:30 I woke up, and I just felt tired. My out the door was like 0 to negative. I had no desire to get out the door. So I just decided to rest. And just chilled and, you know, watched a little bit of cartoons and then fell back asleep for some reason. And didn't wake up till 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. But it was kind of cool. I needed more rest. And so I went back and reviewed my stats, my data. And yes, I've been pouring it on recently. So you have to listen to your body. And most of the people that I coach, I let them know that, yeah, we send the plan, but if you get up in the morning and the plan calls for you to ride hard and you don't feel like riding hard, just go ahead and spin or take the day off. Listen to your body. The way you feel trumps everything. It's important. It's better to do less than to overtrain. And my body has been changing. My weight now is 85 kilos. I have not been this light in years. And so my body's adapting to all these long rides we're doing, plus hooking up with these guys. This is our 3rd week. And it does add up because these boys ride fast. You know, Dog and I are chatting. 2 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't be able to be chatting with him this comfortably. But my body's adapting. We went out Tuesday, Paul and I, we did a pretty fast ride, you know. So we're doing stuff during the week to get us ready each week, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want every ride to be hard. So just because we ride with these guys on Saturday does not mean we kill ourselves during the week. No, you still need to keep your program and then treat the fast rides like you do seasoning. Just a little dash. I was talking about the shorts I'm wearing, the keep from Assos. They actually fit really well as the Millie. I did not want to put the Millie on this Saturday because of all the rain, and just a combination of outfit I was wearing, I decided I would just wear them another time. But so far, I'm very impressed with all their shorts. I mean, I've owned Assos in the past. I had the S5 years ago. It was okay. These, I believe, are so much better than the S5. I have their old Uno, and it's fine. But they've upped their game. I will add a link to the Assos where you can find deals on them on our website on a recommended cycling product for those of you who go to Veloharmony.com. And I will try to keep up where you can find deals. So somebody asked how expensive they are on the channel, one of our legends. And I just told them that it was relative, that you just need to shop. Yeah. Or whatever it is you want. Shop for it and make the necessary adjustments if you really want to get it. You see the bandana I'm wearing, it's a new one we're trying and we're very pleased with that. This is, it covers your neck, the part that's flapping. When it gets really hot, it's nice having that fabric on there. And these are so much more breathable than the other ones we've used in the past. So we are very, very pleased with that. I will be adding them to the recommended cycling products as well. I may just put it in this video. I don't know if people ask, but I don't like to push a lot of products. I just found them and I really like them. And we're planning on getting every color they're offering because I like to wear things under my helmet because then my helmet pads don't get dirty and I don't have to be washing them that frequently because I like to keep my helmet smelling clean. I don't like them to be smelly or, you know, the salt stains on the straps. So no, I clean my helmet often. I much rather wash the straps than those pads. The pads, if you take them out and wash them too much, they don't last. They fall apart, even though you get a spare with some of the top helmets. So by wearing a cap, cycling cap, or these bandanas, your helmet will have a much longer life. Just keep that in mind. Plus, it keeps the sweat out of your eyes. And these particularly made me feel I forgot I was wearing them. That's how breathable they are. So you really have to do some conditioning before you come and ride with fast riders. If you're riding with a group that, let's say at a certain speed or a certain effort you're struggling, don't go out and kill yourself at that same effort. Just keep riding consistently in your endurance zones to build your endurance and then do a little bit of speed work and you will be ready. Because there's a tendency to think that I gotta go hammer myself. No, you don't want to hammer every ride. You get burned out. You get tired of it. The body needs rest. So all the training adds up. You have to mix it up. You just have to make subtle changes to your program to get you ready. That's why I say don't just go ride around. You'll get better, but it'll be like a crapshoot. You won't know when your form is coming in. You won't know exactly what to do, and you won't maximize your time because you're just riding around. The dog and I were chatting. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Just different things. Oh yeah, I remember now. His brother, Greg, and I'm glad that I remembered that. I wanted to mention that if you're taking medication for, let's say, high blood pressure or other things, it can affect your athletic performance. His brother Greg is going through something similar where he's taking some medication and he can't figure out why his speed is down, meaning his heart rate won't go up. And So he can ride steady rides and stuff, but he can't push like he used to. So it's got to be tough for him. He's trying to sort that out. So remember that everything affects you, whether it's stress at work or whatever else. If you're on some kind of medication, be cognizant of that fact so you don't feel depressed. We end up stopping here almost at the last minute, but people called out and we're stopping. So you're not going crazy thinking that, oh, my training's off. Well, certain medications affects your system. You know, it just suppresses stuff, and that can affect you. So that's some of the things he was talking about. And he was talking also about his surgery on his knee, the scoping that they did, and just how the hospital was overcharging, you know, for 2 hours, just ridiculous amounts of money. And we just kind of, you know, we're talking about the issues that we deal with our medical system. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. You know, just when you have insurance, some of the hospitals try to just see what they can get away with. They pad the bill to see what the insurance company will be willing to pay. And a lot of the insurance companies do hire professional medical people to review those bills. And the hospitals know that, so they try to see what they can get away with. That's what we're talking about. So if we're talking about those topics, the ride has not started in earnest yet. That's the guy back there. I never got his name. The guy on the left. It ended up becoming clear that his bike was new. You will see in about probably 10 kilometers or so, he will begin to really be all over his bike. It's a nice bike, but I don't think it's fitted correctly. Even more ended up asking him, you don't hear him, but more ask, and I heard it. Is that a new bike? You know, we're on 149, and that's the reason he was asking. So he really should have gotten that thing tuned up a little bit, because you'll see him go all out. Everybody can tell that he's going all out, and I will point that out. And then shortly after that, he pulls out of the line before Mount Magnolia, because these boys really went hard on Mount Magnolia today. So since we're not really hammering right now, I'm just keeping my cadence 80s to 90s thereabout. We're just talking. You know, it doesn't matter. When we start to work, that's when I get more cognizant of my efficiency. I really love our sport. I am biased, but I really love this sport where you can be. We're working out. I'm in zone 2, okay, and I'm having a conversation. You can't do that when you're running. You know, you can't do it when you're swimming because you're in the water. You can't talk. So this is the coolest sport. And I think that's why drivers don't like us. They're upset. I'm just kidding. Some of us do stuff to annoy the drivers. But it kind of works both ways. We just need to be a little more patient with each other. We're not meant to be alone. That's why there's more than one of us on this planet. We're supposed to find a way to get along and help each other out. And not take things so seriously. Yeah, when they turned here, I knew they were going to do 1488, but with Team IR, we go straight usually. I have not gone this route to get on there, but we got to know the area. And I realized, oh, okay, this is a faster way to get on 1488. These boys want to get out in the open road as soon as they can. They're not messing around. They come out to ride. And Mo's thing was, yeah, it's supposed to rain, but if we can avoid it, why not? You know, it's not going to stop us from riding. You know, I'm adding to what he said, but basically what he meant was, yeah, we know the rain's out there. Let's just see how quickly we can get our ride in before it really hits. You know, and this is the kind of group you want to hook up with. People who don't cancel the ride because there's a little threat of rain. Even Al was telling us in the parking lot, it was off camera, of course. Al is in front of me right now. He said in the UK, if you show up at a ride and you have no mud guards, they put you at the back. because nobody wants to follow you. And we've heard earlier in the past that somebody had also said that some of the groups in the UK will not allow you to participate in the group rides if you don't have, you know, mud guards. Especially, I think it's probably winter. I guess it rains more in the winter, but I'm sure in the summers are also can be wet. So, which makes sense because you're gonna be spraying people with nice kit. That's Al going up there to mow. The light turns. We have a green arrow, and we're trying to make it. So this is 1488. We're headed west towards the city of Magnolia, Texas. We're in Montgomery County. There's a lot of little debris, but nothing that will hurt the bike, but we can't tell from a distance. And as a rule, we just try to avoid them. The little strings, you know, plus strings like that, you don't want to roll over to flip up. They can get caught in your chain or your freewheel. So yeah, it's just better to avoid them. It takes all of maybe 15-20 seconds, if that, to put those mud guards on my bike. And I tell you what, I won't change it for anything because, man, you get home dry and clean. We hit the green light here. This is 2978. We're going across. It's a lot of little debris. That's why you see more dodging them. Little rebar was on the road. I stayed to the left so I can see. You guys will see in about probably maybe 8 kilometers or so, you will see more sitting in the wind at speed, and everybody else is on the left in a line drafting. He's the only one sitting there. I'll point that out. He's basically challenging himself, so he's working harder, but this way he still gets to keep the group together without feeling that he's not doing enough work. That's another way you can ride with riders who are not as fit as you are or at your level, by making it harder on yourself. So instead of being in the draft, look how long he's been sitting at the front, and he's going to stay there, and then later on he'll go back and be the only one sitting in the wind. So that's what you need to do instead of breaking up your group. Just find a way for you to work harder. I mean, we're moving here. You see my heart rate 137? That's like top of zone 1, getting into zone 2, because I am sitting as close as I can to Al. Al is not exactly a big guy, so I draft him a lot closer. It's helping because the line on the right is also giving me a little bit of a break. You can see Doug sitting close to Mo over there. And Mo is talking with Fabian. So now I've entered zone 2. So you can't focus on the heart rate. When I'm riding, I don't really see my heart rate, as I've mentioned before. I pay attention more. How does this gear feel? Do I need to shift up? Do I need to shift down? You make those kind of decisions. That's what I concentrate on. You know, how do I like this gear? Because it's your legs doing the work. Your heart rate is a reaction to what your legs have done. Your heart does not pedal the bike. Your legs do. So listen to your legs first. And when the heart rate gets to a certain area, what happens is, if you've never gotten into that zone where the heart rate is, say, 175 beats per minute, there's a tendency sometimes to say, oh, I got to stop because my heart rate's so high. Well, you got to get acclimated to working in the different zones that you have. It depends now. If you're feeling really bad, or you feel like, oh, I'm busy or whatever, then you definitely need to back off. Don't ignore that. But what I'm saying is, don't just stop because you've never hit that zone before. You've got to teach yourself to tolerate the heart rate when it gets into higher zones. And what it's doing is beating faster, get more nutrients to your legs. So if you've never gone that hard for that long, start slowly, stay there for shorter periods, and then build up over time to tolerate the zone. That's why you need specific workouts to get you in there. But don't panic because you get to a new heart rate zone. Listen to how you feel. Is it tolerable? Am I aware of myself? Are my senses intact, or do I feel like I'm riding cross-eyed, or am I pedaling squares? If you're pedaling squares, or you feel like you're riding cross-eyed, then you need to back off, because then you're not improving. you over your limit. That guy is catching too much wind. The one with the light that had said he was going to get dropped. He should not be there. At least Jesus is in somewhat of a slipstream of Paul. This guy has nobody that he's drafting. He's too far away from Doug. Look where Doug is. So that's how you waste energy. He's wasting energy right now. He ends up paying the price in a little while. And the other thing I was going to say is you will see that when we get to Mount Magnolia, Polilonga has already made up his mind what he's going to do, because we plan on riding 6.5 hours minimum. That's our plan. So his thing was, okay, you know what? I don't feel like I want to push on Mount Magnolia. So as soon as we get there, you will see him just make sure he slides out of the pace line. And the reason I'm pointing that out is that's what you want to do. You want to have a plan, and you want to look like a rider who knows what they're doing. You don't have to do everything your group does. You have to have your own plan. So since he knows he's not going to push that hard, he just drifts to the right. I will point that out when it happens. So it does not interfere with any of us. We just continue riding because he's not in the way. And that way you end up looking really cool, because people are like, oh yeah, this guy really knows what he, you know, this guy has a plan. That's what's important. So don't be scared of riding with a group because, oh yeah, I'm a little out of shape. No, stay with them as long as you can, but make sure you get out of the way when they start to hammer and you're not going to play. So the other people can get with the program and not feel like you're impeding them. Then you end up looking, you shine because people are like, okay, this is a person with a plan. That's what I receive, and I know most experienced riders, because that means you knew what you were going to do before you even got with the group. The jersey I'm wearing is one of my favorites. It's a birthday present I got from my brother, and I really like it. The fit is it's the Rafa classic jersey, and that colorway is just very nice with the little purple and pink that they combine. Hope Paul and I have a copy. They really built it up. They made nice changes to the classic jersey. They have a little band on the arm that really keeps the arm in place. I think this is where Paul gives me the camera. I take the camera from him. Then he sits on the right. And then he tells me in a little while, you probably can't hear, he tells me, he said, man, I was getting a better draft when I was behind you. Because, you know, Doug is a smaller guy. Paul and I are both 6-footers. So, you know. And then even Al in front of me, after a while, it's probably going to be on camera, he teases me, he gets in the drops, and he said, how do you like that draft? So these guys are like Al, they're comedians, they just miss their calling. He's a funny guy. So he gets in the draft, he gets very low when he and Doug are pulling. What happened after those two pull off the front? Then he turns to me and says, how do you like that draft? He knows I'm not getting much of a draft. That's funny. So that's the cool thing about riding with people. You know, you get a little bit of comedy, you get a little bit of camaraderie. I think this is what Paul's telling me, that he got a better draft from me behind me. In a little while, I think I tell him to get behind Al or something. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. And then it changes when those guys pull off. You'll see the dynamics of the ride, because Polilonga has already decided he's not going to tap into his red zone at this point, but we've got a long day on the bike. The intent of this group was to get out quickly and get back before the rain got here. They were not going very far. And Fabian in front of Al there might as well be like a RoboCop or robot. It's like he just knows one speed. He just gets up there and he just goes. Paul told me that after one of Fabian's pulls on Jackson Road, he told him, take it easy, man. Fabian started laughing. So we don't just ride these rides. After the rides, Paul and I chat about what happened, and it's funny. I mean, I laugh. You know, he laughs. We laugh about what happened. We discuss what happened on the ride, and it's funny. Just all the different personalities, you know. Especially the new guy, that, to us he's new, the guy with the red bike I was talking about that announced that he was going to get dropped. So I told him, okay, we're going to get dropped too. And he said, oh, okay, I'll come back with you guys. Well, he didn't know we were going further out. Yeah, Saturday is our most available day to go long, so we don't like to miss that. During the week, it's too hectic. We're lucky if we can get 90 minutes in on the bike, which is pretty much the same. That's why I told Paul to get behind Al. Al is a little higher up than Doug over there. That's the Vaunt breeze on his bike, that light. He likes that light. I've got it on one of the other bikes. One of my other bikes. It's a nice light. It's easy to use. I've got the camera in my left hand. I've got it right next to the brake hoods. When we start to go hard, I forget about the camera. It's just there. It's like you're holding a fat bar. I've said that before. But what I noticed on this ride was a couple of times, I ended up editing those scenes out, but a couple of times it starts to rattle on the brake lever, and I'm not even thinking about it because I'm focused on riding. And if we let it rattle for too long, then the gimbal goes limp and the camera starts to film the sky. So he and I discussed it, and we're both cognizant of the fact that we have to be aware of eliminating all rattles. So we found a way. We've discussed how we're going to deal with that. Now watch here. Those guys pull off on both sides on the same side, which is because of the traffic. Look at Al and Doug take off. So Paulie Longa does not want to waste his energy. That's why you don't see him trying to chase them. He's just going to drift behind somebody. I'm going to take my time to close the gap. There's no point in getting all excited. And then you end up just, you know, when you gun it, it's like you gun an engine, you burn fuel quicker. I'm just sipping my fuel. I end up just riding back on Al's wheel. They know we're there. Doug looks behind. And at 43 kilometers an hour, this is fast, okay, because we don't have a tailwind. The wind is swirling. Most of the day, the wind was swirling. On the way back, you guys will see. When Paul and Lara are coming back solo, we get pounded by wind, rain. It is just vicious. Now look at Mo. Mo just rides up to the middle. He's going to talk to Doug. I don't know what they're talking about. But he rides up. He's sitting on Doug's wheel. I'm going to ride up next to him. And I'm sitting on Al's wheel. Then Al's going to get low. He's going to get into drops. I think it's after this hill. Mo standing. Just to stretch his legs. Change the rhythm.
Did Al get the memo?
Yeah, Mo said that I was supposed to take it easy. You see, Al said you like that draft? Now look at it. I told him that's no draft. I feel like I'm pulling. Then he sits out, look at that. Then Chris Froome. These guys are comedians, man. And everybody's got a high cadence here because it's windy. We've got that hill coming, 45 kilometers an hour. We're moving. My brother's working back there. And he's trying to decide, okay, what do I do when we get to Mount Magnolia? Because these boys don't back off. Al's going to pull off. They peel off to both sides. He checked for traffic. I am not going to pull.
You guys were doing perfect, man. You didn't need to move.
I want to even stay there. I am not going to pull. I don't know what happened here. I don't remember, but I know I didn't pull. Mo, look at Mo. Look at Mo just taking. Look. He's just rolling off the front like it's nothing. And look at my brother. I told him, I said, you better. So if we're doing 41, Mo's doing about 45. Now watch the guy in the yellow and black. That's the one who was saying that he was gonna get dropped. Look at him rocking. Look at Doug here with the lime green. Look at Doug. Look how stable he is. Now look at the guy in front of Doug. Hoping we get a good shot. This is where the energy is being wasted. This is why bike fit, I always say, it begins with fit. Yeah, look at him. Look at him. He stands up. Watch. He's searching for power. It's getting hard. Look how stable Mo is to the right. Look at Doug here. Look at the guy in the yellow. There's a hole here where I'm watching for. There's like a hole in the pavement. Been there forever. I want you guys to keep your eye on the guy in the black and yellow. Black, yellow, and white. Look how stable Doug is in front of me here. And look at that guy. Look at the rocking. That's wasted energy. He's searching because his legs cannot get to the bottom of the stroke. Look at his whole body moving. That takes energy. That's that hole I was talking about. Look at his shoulders. Everything's moving. His fit is not too far off, but it's the little differences that make a difference, that count. Now the road's going up here. It's a slope, but at this pace, he has to stand. He's not comfortable. Look at him. Everybody can tell he's going all out. Look at him. It's like he's sprinting. That's a lot of energy. Now watch. He's emptied his tank. Look at the gap opening in front of him to Ilonga's wheel. He look around. Boom. He's done. He's done. He wasted all that energy because of his fit / conditioning. All that energy because he was sprinting while everybody else just riding. You can only do that so long. So he was maxed out. He ended up, he's gonna regroup after the climb, but right now he was done. He expended way too much energy, and I wanted to point that out because if you don't have a good fit, first of all, you're not gonna want to ride much because everything's uncomfortable after you ride or even during your ride. So you're not gonna get fit because you're not gonna want to be on the bike. You don't look forward to getting on the bike when your fit's off. So before you spend money on anything, make sure you get sizing. Make sure you're getting the right bike for your size, your frame, your body type, and then make sure you get a bike fit. Not a bike shop bike fit. Get a fit from a professional studio that know what they're doing. Do your research. Because the fit is only as good as the person doing it, like most things in life. Now watch, this is what I was talking about. We're doing 41 kilometers an hour. Look at Mo just sitting in the wind. He's not drafting anybody. This way he gets to work hard. He gets to work hard and doesn't have the need to break up the group per se. So he's pushing himself by sitting in the wind at speed without a draft. He's been sitting there all this time I've been talking. That's what you have to do when you're riding. If you're fitter than other people, find a way to challenge yourself instead of breaking up the group. This is what Paul Ilonga decides he's going to just hold his pace. I go around him, Doug goes around him. So it didn't bother us. It did not break up our rhythm. That's what I was talking about. If you know what you're going to do, you make your decision and you go ahead and just stay within yourself. And this is the beginning of we call it Mount Magnolia. It's a nice little bump and it's long. All I remember on this climb is that I continued to shift up. I kept my cadence in the 80s as much as possible. And we just went harder and harder. And you will see Al is going to attack probably about 3/4 of the way up. That's Fabian on the right there getting on Mo's wheel. And that's Jerry Lutner on the right. I'm sitting a little to the left of Doug on the white line. It's getting hard. Jesus standing. Then Al goes. We just keep our pace. And in a little while, as we crest the steepest pitch of this thing, then Mo will go after him. Right there, Mo and Fabian increase the effort just a tad. Mo's not going full gas. He's just riding. I don't see Al. Yeah, Al's right there. But Mo's going to catch up to him. He looks further than he actually is in this wide angle lens. In a little while, I'm going to drift to the left. because I start to descend faster than these guys. So my heart rate ended up hitting, let's see, 169. I think it hit 170. I glanced at it just now. I think it was 170. I just watched as the speeds go up. We're descending. I'm coasting here, and I have to go to the left because I don't want to slow down. Mo has already gone in front of Al. Mo and Fabian are going to the corner. Now Jerry Lutner is behind Fabian, and Al is behind Jerry. That's Jesus. And this is Doug on my right. This is where the rattling started. And that's the first time I got aware of that when I was looking at the clips. So we gotta really watch that because it affects the gimbal. I went on the inside, took a better line. I'm just keeping my effort. I'm looking back to see where Paul is because I know he should be at the top of that climb by now. Because there's a light up there. So Jesus comes, okay, he's gonna pull us back, but then he's not really firing that much. He's spinning kind of a small gear. So in a little bit, I just pulled to the left and decided to push a little harder. Jesus also wearing Asos here today. So I'll go ahead and take the left lane here. The light's going to change up there to red. And then I'll do a U-turn to go back and get Paul. He's not that far back. I just wanted to make sure. Because I wasn't sure these guys were going to wait. They ended up waiting. We're out in the country here. This is Magnolia, Texas. Lightly traveled roads, high volume. You know, high speed, low volume. That's Jesus there that I was riding with a second ago. But he wasn't going fast enough, so I went by him and went up there. Now I'm going to go down. This is the guy who was all over his bike. I can see his light. And more noticed that, so he ended up asking him later, you know, is that a new bike? It's kind of a hint. There's a car behind me, so I can't turn right now. That's Paul. And then I turned. And since we're riding for 6.5 hours, everything we do, we try to keep it reasonably paced, meaning that, you know, not too many crazy jumps and this and that, you know, depending on how you feel. So Paul checks the traffic. We're trying to make sure we catch up to those guys. At this point, he doesn't know they're waiting. So I come through, I check. There's a car coming, but he's far away. You know, don't do this at home, boys and girls. We're out in the country here. So we checked, and then I told him, we gotta go. Everybody's here. Everybody's here. That's us. So that's Mo up there. This is Fabian. In a little while, I'm gonna get back on the road. That's Mo right there. He's waiting for us. So I get on the road, there's nothing coming. I want the group to come up a little bit. I don't want to be at the front at this point because I'm not feeling that great, but I'm not feeling bad. I just kind of want to sit in for a bit. These guys have been going hard. Even though we're getting used to this pace, you still have to respect it. I was off for a long time, and I've got about 4 months of training under my belt. But these guys have been doing this for a while, so my engine is not ready for that. Now watch, right here, I'm right there. All of a sudden, Fabian drops the hammer. I think it was Mo. Mo took off so fast here, I couldn't close the gap easily. And I decided I was not going to work overly hard to close the gap. There's something on the road. There's a piece of tire on the road. And so I back off a bit as we go past the debris. When I go back over the white line here, these guys take off so fast. Look at them go. I mean, they're right there and I can't get there. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, you need to keep the effort where it should be. I'm not closing that gap. I'm like, I will take my time and ride back to them. I mean, look at the gap. They're just pulling away. So I'll go ahead and settle and decide I'm going to claw them back slowly over time, instead of trying to do it burst and just spend my energy too much. But then Jerry Lutner comes and says, let's go. And he sits up. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit in this draft. So I appreciated it. I saved a lot of energy. You can see we're doing 44 kilometers an hour and he closes it in no time. I did not want to work as hard as he did there. But I wanted to save my energy because I know when we get to Jackson Road, it's going to be up and down. And this road right here is up and down too. So it would have taken me probably 2 to 3 kilometers to close it gradually, like I was planning to do. But Jerry decided to come up, you know, thinking, oh, you know, let me help this guy out. Yeah, I'll take a wheel any day of the week. I will never say no to a free wheel. It was timely and I definitely appreciated it. Saved me some energy. So this is the 3rd week. In the time we've been riding with these guys, what I've noticed is that my engine is spending more time in what I call the race pace zone. And you have to train specifically for that to get the adaptation that you need. Because the kind of riding we've been doing, we're not spending too much time in zone 4 and 5, you know. And so you have to train for that. You have to hit the zones that your group is putting you in so you can adapt. That's what this is about. And then once you adapt, no problem. The body gets used to the adaptations and all of a sudden you feel like your form is better. That's what riders mean when they say my form is here or my form has come in. You continue the same program, but then, you know, once during the week at least, you want to hit those zones. When I train, I don't wait for heart rate. I just go to the zone because I can tell when I'm there. You know, if you were using a power meter, you wouldn't wait for 300 watts. You'd see it. That's what I mean. So heart rate is reactive. You can't wait on it. You're going hard for a minute. Nobody cares where your heart rate is. You go hard for that minute. And once the minute's over, by the time the heart rate gets up there, your effort's over. So when the boys are going hard, don't worry about your heart rate. Just go. If you feel good, you know. That's what matters. I don't know if I turned the camera around much. Probably once or twice. Because I forgot about it. I just held it and focused on riding. So riding with these guys, I found that I would shift one cog in either direction from whatever I was riding. So for example, say I'm sitting in the 53.17, I would shift to the 53.16 for a period, or shift to the 53.19 for a period. What I would do is if the road goes up or the wind would pick up, and because it's blustering, I paid attention to, are my legs happy? Do I feel bogged down? That's what you must be working out in your mind. And you learn that from your training. Do I feel like I'm behind this gear or on top of it? Basically, that's what it's about. That's what determines what you do. You can see as I sit in Jerry's draft, he's a big guy like I am. I'm getting a good draft. My heart rate has dropped down to like top of zone 2 into tempo and so forth. So it's settled down. I looked around just to see what was coming. That's something you want to do when you're following a line. Keep your eye up the road from time to time to see what's coming so you're not surprised. Debris. He pointed to the right, I just moved a little left. That's all. Since I saw that he didn't go across the white line, I figured where he rode was clear. All of that's what's going on in your head. That's why you don't have time to listen to music. There's no appreciation for music on a ride like this. You're not going to be listening to the music. There's too much to pay attention to really get into anything else. That's why I don't bother putting anything in my ear. This takes up all your attention. Besides the guys you're riding with, the debris, the cars, the squirrels, holes in the road, the dogs, whatever. That's enough. That's why it's not boring. That's why we can do 6.5 hours. The mind is stimulated when you're out on the bicycle. All the sights and sounds. It's a great sport. The time flies, and if you have the right company, it seems even faster. Before you know it, you're like, man, we've been out here 3 hours. We get that a lot. You know, Paul and I were just out chatting and riding, and he's like, man, it's been 3 hours already? Doesn't feel like it. That's why. It's more fun with the right company. You know, it's fun solo, but it's even more enjoyable with the right company. I think we're approaching 149. Yeah. And you will see again, Fabian will take off after the intersection and gap everybody. Goes so hard. We weren't expecting it. I think Jerry was, because he rides with them enough to know what they do. You see, Al was expecting it. Al's going. Now Doug's going. I wasn't expecting it. So they've got about a car length of me. And then I decide, okay, I'm going to ride up to them. Look at my cadence. I did not shift. I just kept the same gear and just revved it up. I had to get up to almost 25 miles an hour to catch them. This is just after the intersection. And then I think Jerry goes up and tells Fabian that the group is gapped, because behind me people are gapped. I move to the left so I don't have to slow down. Catch the wind. So they're waiting for the group to come back. I didn't think to turn the camera around. I was focused on riding here. So I guess Fabian's done. I think this is where Paul told him, man, take it easy when he gets to the back. And then he laughed. We're on Jackson Road, headed north, kind of northwesterly somewhat, or more north than westerly. At this point anyway, we're going to turn. You see how the road goes left up there? That's more towards the west. So I basically settled in, find a gear that I like. I'm already in it, and just kind of rolling along, trying to find some kind of a draft, because this is why I flipped the camera around. That's Jesus. Because there is no perfect draft. It's swirling around. So sometimes you have shelter on the right, sometimes directly behind, sometimes on the left. Right now it's almost like it's on the left, so I'm staying a little to the left of Doug's wheel. They've done a great job with this road. It used to have a lot of potholes and cracks and crevices. Now it's been nicely repaved, and it has maintained. It's not falling apart. They need to do something similar in the forest. We're losing a lot of pavement there. Just steady right here, almost at 23.5, 24 miles per hour. Just rolling along, and it is a windy, blustery, breezy day. 24 Celsius, 75 degrees, and in July, that is unusual for southeast Texas. This road is up and down. In the distance where the car is, it kicks up there. So you just, I mean, not significant. So you can either muscle the gear you're in or go down one car if you've got a tight cluster. You would see my cadence flutter, like go to zero, then flutter back, go back up, because I'm soft pedaling at some point. When I get up on Doug's wheel, it gets kind of sucked in, I soft pedal to avoid braking or breaking up the rhythm for the people behind me. I'm probably most likely riding a 5317, which is an 84-inch gear. This is where the camera starts rattling, and I'm not aware of it. I'm just focusing on riding. It's rattling on the brake hood. I must have moved the position or something. After a while, it ended up kind of going limp because the calibration was thrown off. But once I figured that out, you know, Paul and I discussed it. I just told him we just got to watch that. That's all. Nothing major. I was not aware during the ride that was happening because, you know, the emphasis is on riding. But during, you know, reviewing the clips, you can hear it. This is a slope. It says 0 on there. This thing only shows integers, probably 0.7 or something like that. It goes up a little bit. You can see it visually. Yeah, these guys don't back off too much. And with the wind the way it was on Saturday, yeah, it was hard. And Jerry's sitting there just driving the pace. This is a slight downhill. It says -1 now. Jerry's trying to get off the front, but there's somebody that said car back, I think. I think this is where it happened. So he waits a little bit. Now he looks. Now he's getting off. And Al takes over the pole. So like right now, by looking at the screen here, I can see that 153 beats per minute. I'm creeping into zone 3 in the draft. So if I were to take a pole, I wouldn't want to go much harder than zone 4 at the front. When I do get to the front, I don't stay there any appreciable amount of time. It's like I just got there long enough to let Doug get back in the draft, and then I pulled off. I was there quick for a very short period of time. I don't even call that a pull. I just went through. That's where the camera was rattling and it went limp, and I edited to this point when I figured out that it had gone limp. So this is where Al pulls off. He pulled off to the right because the wind's coming from the right somewhat. I mean, it's all over the place. And so Doug takes over. You can see the road up ahead goes up. Beautiful road. Look at that. Just beautiful. I'm grimacing there. Got the bit by the teeth. that wind is just all over the place. So the main reason why you have to ride in different zones to build your fitness is that when you do go hard, if you have a good base, your recovery is more efficient. If you watch my heart rate, it'll go to like 161, 162, then drop to 153. That's significant. That means your body is able to tolerate the effort, and then you're able to go again. I mean, Doug's going hard here. This road's going up. You can see my heart rate going back in the 160s, which is right at the sweet spot, right there, 163, creeping up into zone 4. And I'm sitting behind him. There's not a whole lot of draft here. I'm sitting pretty close. In a little while, he will move to the left and flick his right arm for me to take a pull. I have no plans to sit up there right now for any appreciable amount of time. I have just entered zone 4, sitting behind him. It's very blustery. We went up that little grade. It's still a slight false flat. Doug pulled up, you see the little flick of his elbow. That was a good place that he pulled up because the road kind of leveled off to just a little downhill, -1 there. I flipped the camera around. I didn't know I was going to get such a good shot here. You can see Doug getting back. I'm waiting for him to get in the line. I look behind, he's still out there, so I said, okay, I'll take a few more strokes. Then I pulled off, I flicked my arm. I wasn't there long enough to call that a pull. I got off the front. And there's a gap. You see, that guy didn't fill the gap. And I wasn't going to get behind Doug. We had just been pulling. You'll see more come up. More moved up. That guy's is rough. Everybody's working here. That's Al. And that's Fabian. That's a good shot. The camera was kind of all cockeyed. I didn't think it was going to get a good shot like that, but it did. So I get behind. I'm the last guy in the line, just sitting behind them. And once again, I notice it's rattling. I'm not paying attention to it at this point. I think I reach for a bottle to get something to drink, to settle up, because that road goes up right up there. To settle in, got to get my body back comfortable again. My effort is the same as it was when I was behind Doug. In fact, my heart rate's dropping. I'm feeling better and better. It starts to rattle. In a short while, I notice it's filming the sky. And I end up holding the camera. You'll see my finger right here. It's messing up. See the sky? Then I noticed that, so I grabbed the camera and I'm holding the camera, not the gimbal. I'm basically holding the piece, the camera, and just holding it because I don't have time to turn it off. Turn the gimbal off and back on. We're at the end of the climb. There's an intersection right there, about maybe 100 yards. See my hand? I'm just holding the camera to get this shot. And this is as far as we got with them. And then after that, I turned off the camera, put it up, and then Paul and I Paul's with them right there, but he had enough.
All right, legends. We're on 2854 headed south. And I tell you what, we let those boys go, and we went into the forest. But man, we got a good workout with them today. So another step.
Because of the tropical storm Hannah that was in the Gulf this weekend, there's some serious 25+ mile/hour winds. I mean, it's blowing. Look at my bandana. We are getting pummeled here by the wind. Just listen. I had removed my jacket from on my spine and I put it in the right pocket where some of my gels are because I was getting a bit hot. You know, that's an area of the body that that breeze. Paul's saying that the wind's blowing us sideways. So he's sitting on my right. The wind's coming from in front and from the left. It's a southeasterly flow. We're headed south. East is to our left. And the wind's blowing in our face and from the left. You can see where he is. We're basically running an echelon. It is just blowing like crazy. I didn't think we were going this fast. I'm looking on the screen here, and I guess no wonder it fell hard. I'm in a 53.19 or something like that, or 21, something like that. It just felt hard. The wind is just beating us up. We're on 2854, headed south, away from Montgomery, Texas, towards Honea. This is not a time to sit up and sightsee. You gotta hold the bars. The wind is powerful enough to blow your front wheel out of line. I lower my body just a bit. So now most of this ride, even though we have our mud guards and our shoe covers, we had encountered wet roads when we left the forest, but we had not been rained on. In a few kilometers, we get rained on. Probably 10 kilometers, 6 miles from here. Or we're almost at the exit of Great Lakes Estate. Listen to the wind. I'm showing him the clouds. You see the storm clouds? It's at this point it's raining in the woodlands. We're just not aware of it. We end up coming into heavy rain, to where you can tell it's been raining because of water on the road and so forth. You know, just a little bit. The bandana I'm wearing did its job. I forgot I was wearing it. It covered my neck. I really like the form factor. It really works. And like I said earlier, keep your helmet clean. You don't want to be washing those helmet pads often. They don't last. They're not very durable if you do that. Most of them are held together by fabric glue, so they can only take so many washings. I'm explaining to him that it's a southeasterly flow because the storm is swirling in the Gulf of Mexico, and we're on supposedly the dirty side of it. On the northeasterly side of it. I think it went into Brownsville and places like that, South Texas. We definitely had to keep our hands on the bars, and I told Paul we're going to. Originally, we had probably considered going Ribbon Chapel south, but I don't want to go east up a climb into this wind. It's just blowing. So I'm basically leaning left as I ride. The wind does this thing, we do ours. Put your head down and work. It feels like we're climbing here. Check for traffic. Paul to come up, take his turn.
Let's get you a film, my brother. Styling.
Paul's got the La Pasión. A jersey.
Take out the week.
There's a street up at the top of that climb in the distance called Adouin. So I let him know we're going to take Adouin. I don't want to go left right now on Ribbon Chapel.
We have a tropical storm in the Gulf, and it's bringing all kinds of wind and rain, and it's blowing us like crazy.
It actually felt good. I'll take the wind versus the heat. That's Raven Chapel South. We just passed it. We didn't want to go east right now. That wind is vicious. Road goes up. It's a nice little bump, and then we turn right in the distance there onto a road called Adui, and surprisingly that little road hit 7%. I call it a steep little booger. Because of the wind, Paul can't hear me very well, so I have to repeat.
Come around if we go across the tracks. This is what's his name? Paul H.
Paul H. hates this road. I don't know what it is. He doesn't like it. Paul is the guy that rides with Team RR. So there's a car back, I move over after he passes, then we take the lane. Nobody's coming.
Steep little bugger.
I call it a steep little bugger. It doesn't go far, but it gets to 7% in a hurry. If you look at the grade, it showed up to 6, but that's 7. It gets to 7%. So I just stand, just keep my gear going. I didn't want to downshift and do anything. It's a nice quiet road. It's a good little diversion from the highway. This leads to Keenan Cutoff Road, which will take us to Great Lake Estates.
Yeah.
I'm telling him about the clouds in the distance. There was almost like they were converging, one at the top, one at the bottom. Looked almost like a tornadic formation. The camera does not pick it up very well. In a little bit, we see some people on the left looking through some trash. I guess they probably threw something out and they're looking for something that was in there. You can see them. They're sifting through it. And sometimes that can be a headache because if you're looking for something small, you got the grass and all of that over there. It's kind of a pain. There's our turn in the distance. We're going to turn right when we hit the intersection in the distance. By coming through here, we're spared the wind somewhat because all these trees and structures are blocking a little bit. So sometimes you have to plan your route in that manner to give yourself a spell or a reprieve than riding on an exposed highway the entire time. They're building an overpass to the left. That's what that roadwork sign is for. They're going to take Keenan Cutoff and build like a ramp that goes over that highway. The original road will stay. It was clear. I told Paul it was clear. We're going to be turning left right there into Great Lake Estates. Check for traffic. It's clear. Storms I'm talking about, I said, man, we're going to be dealing with that. Look at that. That's the rain. It's raining somewhere in the distance, and we're heading towards it. It turns out it had been raining in the woodlands. But we feel the effects here. The wind is blowing, and I decided I'm going to make my legs work. The day after this ride, I was tired. I think I mentioned it earlier. surprisingly, I was very tired. Normally on Sunday, I feel rested. I was telling Paul that we made good time. He said, thanks to those boys for towing us in. You can see my bandana flapping in the wind. It is breezy out here. You know there's a storm around. There's nothing normal about the level of wind that we're experiencing. Road goes up here. I go ahead and just muscle the gear. I think in a little bit I stood up, or maybe the next one. Whenever I got too slow, I just stood up because I was feeling good. I didn't want to downshift too much. I wanted to make my legs handle some load. I just stand to kind of change the way my body's working, keeping a reasonable tempo. The wind has not died down. It is pounding us. Look at the clouds. In a few kilometers, you hear me point out to Paul that it looks like the wind is shifting. It starts to blow from the left, which is more north than anything. Put my head down as the wind starts to blow even harder. Just briefly, it felt good. It's kind of sliced over me. It was just swirling around. You had to search for any draft that you got. Listen to it. Telling him about the wind. He said, I know. The wind's blowing from the left now and continuing to come in our face. You definitely don't want to leave the bars. It's stiff. At this point, we've been riding for about 6 hours. It says 5:07. So yeah, probably 5 hours. Yeah. But we started the thing early. Yeah, I'm telling you, the wind's coming from that way. Look at the sky. It's like nighttime. It's blowing like crazy. Look at my speed drop from 29 to 20 kilometers. So I stand up. This is a steep pitch. It goes to about probably 3 or 4%. And that wind's blowing. that happens, you just have to find a rhythm and keep working. I like the wind. I welcome the wind. It keeps me cooler. I'll take the wind over heat any day of the week. So right about here, we're going to hit a gate. There's an entrance gate into the second part of this area called Grand Lakes. I think it's called Grand Lakes. So I told him we're stopping because I saw this car, but he just rolled the corner. I checked. There was another van coming. So we go through. The van is actually turning left and coming through this gate with us. I go by the edge. I don't like to roll over that little track they have for the gate. And because the van is there, I move immediately to the right so he can go by. So when you're riding your bike and there are other road users, even though you have the right to use the road, just be considerate. You know, like what I did it quickly. I moved over. I didn't hold the person up so they can go on by their business instead of just blocking traffic. Avoid that. You don't need to get off the road. I'm just saying take your position, hold your position, but be considerate and leave enough room for the other users to come around. So with the trees in here, we weren't getting pounded at every stretch of the way, but it was still there. It's still blowing. But not as much as on the open highway. Because right here, we're going kind of southeasterly, and then it'll go more south in a little bit as it turns right there. And then with the trees and everything, it's not as intense at this point. So coming through here, though, even though you got some shelter from the wind, the road's up and down. Look at that nice long slope. So you got to find your gear, get a rhythm, and ride it. I decided to make my legs work a little more, so I dropped my cadence by keeping the gear larger than I normally ride. Doing some muscular endurance work. I'm not using as much of my aerobic system here, using more leg strength here. It actually felt very, very good on this ride with the wind blowing, temperatures at 25 Celsius, like 76 Fahrenheit. This late in the morning. In a little bit, I will roll over and move so Paul can come to the front, take his cuts right there.
That wind is brutal.
The wind is blowing like crazy. They put those speed humps there to keep the traffic tranquil, calm, slow these drivers down. It may look clear in the distance, but it's raining about probably 6 kilometers from here. The rain hits.
Back off a bit.
About 3.5, 4 miles. I thought the back off was this guy comes around the pass right at the stop sign. This is Linda Lane.
Linda Lane. Linda Lane.
I told her, I said, what did Linda do to get a lane? So we resume and the wind continues to pummel us. This is a slight downhill. We're heading towards the main drag in the Great Lake Estates. I think this road is called Great Hills Drive, something like that. Oh, the next one is Great Hills, and you'll see why it's called Great Hills. Hills galore, up and down. Beautiful, you see it in the distance. Speed humps. If you have anything loose on your bike and you go over those speed humps, it can knock it off. Like if you put a saddle pack on there, a saddle bag that's not tied down, yeah, it might end up on the road, or even a light. One time one of my lights fell off as we came through there. At this point, we're kind of surprised we have not encountered any rain because you can feel the moisture in the air. It's cooler than normal, but it's down. There are people over here having some kind of play thing, you know, a little blow up, that blue thing, balloon play skate per se. Kids are playing around in here. Look at the sky, it's beautiful. Look at that, look at those clouds. There's a lot going on. That was a fast moving storm. This is the road I believe they're called Great Hills. So as we turn left here, you look about probably 6 or 7 kilometers is up and down. Just beautiful. I stand here to just keep my gear rolling. See how I keep my body in the same position. Use less energy. You're not making too many changes. It takes energy to change things. We're heading directly towards the rain. At this point, we're not aware. We just see the sky. Speed humps, go over it. I always just take the load off. You don't have to get off the saddle. You can just transfer your weight to the pedals. I always shift down about a car when I come up this one. I check to see if there's a car behind us. Nothing's behind us. I tell them it's clear. Let's just roll. I always check at the intersections because I don't want anybody trying to come around us at the last minute and surprise us. Most of these guys are very impatient. Look at that road. Is that beautiful or what? He's just going straight up. So you come through here, you're gonna do some work. Wind picks up here as the road goes up, so our speed drops. I keep the effort about the same. shortly we'll start feeling some big droplets of rain. You hear the wind? That thing just... It's coming from the right and in our face. So Paul is sitting on my left.
We are getting in the rain right now.
The rain's here. So with Paul holding that camera, we can't put on our vest while we ride. So we decided to stop at this driveway, but then a car's coming out.
Watch out.
So we take the next one.
Okay, next. Next.
A little Kia Soul automobile there. They're cute. So I hold the camera for Paul so he can put on his vest.
I'll put on mine while we're riding to show the boys.
So he's got his vest under his bib on his spine, so he slipped that out.
Wind has been beating us up. I mean, I am pushing it. We're doing 17, 18 miles an hour on our own effort. So yeah, the rain has finally arrived. So chance favors the prepared mind. See, my shoes are covered. My bike is protected, so it's not going to spray me. And when we get rolling, I'm going to put on my jacket. All right, here we go. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So it took a while for me to get my jacket out because I got food in there. Normally your jacket's in a pocket by itself, you can just take it out. I didn't want to drop anything.
Yeah, everything is back in.
So I was feeling the food with one finger and pulling it back down while I was taking the jacket out. And then the wind picked up. So you got to be careful when it's windy, but the wind happens to be coming straight from the east, which is in my face. So I get the jacket on. Then the rain has made the road slippery. So in a little bit, I edited a bit here, but I'm going to pull to the right there, because the road is slippery. And I grab the jacket, wrap it around me. I got 2 zippers, so it's harder, and put it on. So if you can't do that, you need to practice. And if you can't do that, you stop and put on your jacket. Nothing's wrong with that.
To clean the road. You got that oily film.
Yeah, with the light rain, it's not hard enough to wash the road completely. So initially, the roads are slippery when you have light rain. So you need to be extra cautious. So we approach the exit of the Great Lake Estates here. I think this section is called Grand Lakes or something like that. Or Grand Estates. I gotta get the name. I never pay attention that much to it. It's on the sign out there. I always jump those tracks that they have for the gate. It's clear. I let Paul know. And we get on our favorite road.
Honea-Egypt Road.
Even in the wind, this road felt fast. It's like an old friend. That's what I told Paul. There's a section we're moving at a good clip, and the centrifugal force pushed me out into the lane when I was trying to ride the edge like this, where they had scraped. You'll see that. It's kind of funny. And there's nothing I could do about it. I just had to go with the bike. You know, you can't fight the bike in that situation. You end up falling or something. I just went where the bike wanted to go because it was like I was carrying so much speed when I got into the curve. Then I tried to ride that edge. Well, the road was too slippery, so it just slid out onto the graded surface. So I just stayed on the graded surface and finished it. And you know, when your bike fits you, you can feel what it's doing. So I could tell where the bike was going or how it was tracking. In a little while, I'm going to pull my jacket, my vest down, because I can feel it flapping on my shoulders right there. Those vests are very warm, so on a warm, showery day like this, as soon as the rain stops, first thing we do is take it off. It's okay when it's raining, just to keep you from getting completely drenched, but really most of the time, you'd probably be okay getting wet because you'll dry off anyway. It's a warm day. They work best, in my opinion, on days where it's, let's say, 20 C, 21 Celsius or less. The cooler the weather, the better those vests seem to work. I don't even use a rain cape anymore. I've got a shadow jacket that I use when it's cooler weather and it rains. The rain does not let up. In fact, it gets heavier. And I really didn't need to, but I kept reminding Paul to clean the lens because I didn't want us to film and just have raindrops in the way. But it seemed to have worked out. He cleaned the lens a little while ago, as you saw. And then the wind was blowing the big drops or droplets off the lens, the camera lens anyway. So we got really good rain clips. That's our challenge with riding in the rain. We don't film a whole lot in the rain. I think this is one of the few rainy rides we've filmed extensively riding in the rain. So I was really thrilled that it came out like it did, because a lot of times you can't see anything. You always get droplets blocking the view. I think this is where I tried to ride the edge. We're carrying a lot of speed here, and then the wind kind of blows me into the lane right there. I just go with it. You can't fight that. You just gotta go with it. And I told Paul, I said, yeah, I couldn't stay there. That's why I let him know. The force just pulled me out into the lane.
Yeah.
The wind is picking up, rain's coming down, and so we just put our heads down and decide, let's do this.
This is why we come out here prepared.
Chance favors the prepared mind. I love that phrase. From the movie Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. The villain used that phrase, and it just stuck with me. If you prepare, you can deal with more things in life than if you're not. I left the vest unzipped a little bit at the front, so you'll see it get filled up with wind, but I have to do that because it's a warm day. You zip that thing up, you get too hot in there, even though it's a little breathable. It's still a warm vest, but it did its job. I wanted you to just kind of listen to the elements as we rolled through there. I didn't realize we were going this quickly anyway. It felt slower. That thing was blowing me all over the road, slippery. My shoes got a little damp, but it's really from underneath where the cleat bolts are. That's where water enters most of these shoes. I've got some shoes that I got from Rafa that if you ride in the rain, it does not get wet from the cleat bolts because their shoes are sealed. It's their classic shoes, so it solved that problem. But all I did was stick some newspapers in my shoes when I got home, and they were dry by the next morning. Just look at the rain. I thought it's beautiful. What rain? I'm gonna ride the edge and Paul would tell me to be careful.
Be careful.
I use my hips to avoid the reflectors. I've gone through worse on my mountain bike in the past, so that was nothing. I mean, you can just see that wind pounding us. I told him I need windshield wipers for my shades. And I can't see anything right now. It's just that they're full of raindrops. In a little bit, I will sit up and put them behind my head. There's no point having them on. That's where I like to store my glasses. The lenses are not bothered by anything. You don't have to worry about them getting scratched. And when it's raining like this, you don't have to worry about bugs. The bugs don't like the rain either. So they're not going to be flying in your face or anything. This climb goes to about 5%, and then it settles about maybe 1 to 2%. It becomes like a false flat, so you're working for quite a bit, for a few kilometers. Right about here is getting up 3%, 4. I don't know if 5 will show up. About 5.5%. That 5 flipped and went back to 4. You feel it. There, it says 6%. There we go. We got a good grade reading on this one. So the sync was working this week. Look at the raindrops. Felt good. And those Asos shorts did not get wet at all. They felt more like second skin than anything. The Asos TE Keep. I think it's TE Keep Evil or something. They keep pulling Evil on their shorts. I think that's what they call it. I'm trying to confirm the name here. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called Asos TE Keep Evo Black Series. That's the one I got. They got another one with National Red. That's what Paul wore last week. So we've been getting good copies. I didn't review everything we got. I mean, you know, if you're interested in the shorts, just check them out. Shop for them. They're worth it. They're great shorts. So this one, I did not do a review for this short, this pair. But I did the Cento and the Millie GT in Callium Blue. Those will match my bike nicely, this frame. So I'll probably wear those next week. They make good shorts. You can't go wrong. All the top guys are pretty good. I love the fit of these. And I like the way they sized them. So I run the credits here, and then I have some extra roll after the credits run as we ride in the rain, because we've gotten requests from some of our legends that they like riding in the rain sometimes, and they like to see people ride in the rain. So this was a good opportunity to film in the rain. Because usually we put the camera up when it rains, but for some reason I never even worried about the gimbal. The gimbal is sensitive to a lot of rain. The camera is pretty much waterproof up to a certain amount of meters. And you can see it's been raining here for a while. You see all the water on the road? It's runoff, but the road's wet. That's the rain we have been seeing in the distance when we're coming, and all those dark clouds. So we could tell that it had rained here for some time. Paul is sitting on my left because the wind is coming from in front and to the right. From the right. You see how my vest has ballooned. All of that slows you down. But I had to leave it open because I needed to be comfortable. It would have been too warm to zip it all the way up. We ended up doing 98 miles on this ride. We were not that aware until we got back to the house. I mean, our goal is not 100 miles. We have more lavish goals than that. So we don't really say, oh, we're going to ride 100 miles. We say, okay, we're going to ride 6.5 hours or whatever time. And whatever we cover, we cover. So, you know, some people put comments on Strava, you know, joking. Al asked, did you guys get lost? And somebody said, are you guys slacking off? You couldn't get those 2 miles in, all that. That's not our goal. Doing 100 miles is not a goal for us. We can do that. It's not a problem. We've got loftier things to accomplish, so we don't really focus on that. So by the time we got back, we were aware that it was close to the century mark. But we want to get at least 6 hours in on Saturday. So I'm staying in the middle to avoid the water that's pooled to the right, so I don't have to spray Paul because it splatters, even with the mud guards. But look how I have no rooster tail. You see the plastic on the vest? Rafa put that there for riders who don't ride with mud guards, because that's what gets dirty. You'd have to pull that down and make sure it's down, but it doesn't really cover your rear. Your shorts will be dirty. When we got home, you couldn't even tell we had ridden in the rain. So no, I just I love these mud guards. I'm glad SKS made them. They're excellent. So I open the vest here. We've hit 2978 Sandera / Honea-Egypt Road, Fish Creek. We turn south, and we're gonna ride to the light because it's so busy. We can't make our usual left turn here. So we'll go ahead and ride to the next intersection where there's a light. That's where we go across. That's where I tell Paul, let's ride to the next intersection. There's too many cars. We're back in town. It's busy. Everybody's going to the mall or store or whatever they're doing. And you can see it's still raining. So I hope you all got a chance to get some K's in this weekend. If you didn't, get up, get on the trainer, walk around, go to the park. Keep your body moving and keep those doctors fired. But this is what we did on Saturday, and it was a blast. Get your K's in.